The year was 2000, and the world was introduced to the X-Men on the big screen. Now, I want you to imagine this: a mysterious, gruff loner living off the grid in Canada, minding his own business, until fate comes knocking. Logan, played by the amazing Hugh Jackman, is pulled into the mutant world. This is where we first see his adamantium claws, and oh boy, what a moment! He reluctantly joins the X-Men, a group of mutants fighting for survival in a world that fears them. From here, Wolverine's destiny as both a hero and an anti-hero is set. Now, this is your first stop, X-Men, 2000. It's where the legend of Wolverine begins, and trust me, it's a crucial starting point if you want to follow his entire story. He's not just another mutant, he's the key to understanding the bigger battles that are coming. And if you're already hooked after this one, I don't blame you. But like every good hero story, Wolverine's journey isn't without its twists and turns. Fast forward to 2003 with X2, X-Men United. Now here's where things start getting juicy. Logan begins to question everything: his past, his place in the X-Men, and most importantly, who he really is. In X2, we start getting a taste of his backstory, which has been shrouded in mystery until now. Why does he have an unbreakable skeleton? How does his regenerative healing factor work? This is where the puzzle pieces start coming together. But it's not just about his powers. We see him face inner demons, not just new enemies like the ruthless William Stryker. Logan is thrown into a whirlwind of conflicts, and this time, it's not just physical. He has to make tough decisions that could either solidify his bond with the X-Men or pull him back into isolation. His role as a mentor to Rogue and the other mutants begins to take center stage. Despite his rough exterior, you see his protective instincts come through, especially when it comes to the younger mutants. That's what makes Logan more than just a fighter. He's a reluctant leader, and that's where the emotional depth of the character starts to shine. And here's what really gets interesting. In X2, X-Men United, you start seeing the consequences of his violent past. The more we learn about Logan, the more we realize that his past is catching up to him, and it's not pretty. It's filled with trauma, loss, and unanswered questions. But despite all of that, his bond with the X-Men strengthens. He starts to realize that maybe, just maybe, this team is the family he's been searching for all along. This movie is packed with action, no doubt. But what I love about X2 is how it digs deeper into Logan's emotional side. He's more than just claws and fury. This film sets the stage for some of the biggest reveals in his story. His past, his connections to the X-Men, and what makes him the man he is. If you haven't seen it, now's the time. So, if you're following along with Wolverine's journey, X2, X-Men United is a critical stop. It's where Logan's character really begins to evolve, and trust me, things are only going to get more intense from here on out. Now we've seen Logan in action with the X-Men, but it's time to dive into his origin, where it all started. In 2009, we got X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and let me tell you, this one is special. It's the beginning of Logan's complicated and often tragic story. A story of love, loss, betrayal, and a quest for answers about who he truly is. This movie takes us way back, long before the X-Men. It introduces us to Logan's turbulent childhood and his bond with his brother, Victor Creed, who would eventually become the fierce Sabretooth. Their sibling rivalry drives much of the tension in the film, and it isn't just about who's stronger. It's about survival, identity, and loyalty. We see these brothers fighting side by side through multiple wars, conflicts that span centuries. But the relationship becomes more than complicated. It becomes deadly. Logan's life takes a sharp turn when he is recruited for the infamous Weapon X program. This is where everything changes. The experiment, which gave him those iconic adamantium claws, came at a high cost. Logan loses pieces of his humanity along the way. Imagine going through life, not fully understanding who you are, constantly struggling with memories, or lack thereof. Logan's journey isn't just physical, it's psychological. He becomes the perfect soldier, but in doing so, he loses a part of himself. This is why X-Men Origins, Wolverine is essential for understanding the character we've come to know and love. This movie gives you the backstory you've been dying to know. It's a wild ride through Logan's early years, from war zones to the Weapon X program that turned him into the Wolverine we know. It's dark, it's raw, and it's packed with epic battles that show just how tough and unbreakable Logan really is. Definitely don't skip this one. So, now we've seen where he came from, but what's next for our Claude hero? Well, after learning about his past, Logan goes on a journey of self-discovery in the Wolverine, 2013. This time, Logan is in Japan, a land full of ancient traditions and deadly warriors. He's trying to escape his past, haunted by the death of Jean Grey and his violent history. But just like every great hero, he can't run from his destiny. In this movie, Wolverine faces ninjas, samurais, and even his own mortality. Yes, that's right, Logan actually becomes vulnerable for the first time. He's not just fighting enemies, he's fighting to reclaim his soul. The Wolverine is a beautifully crafted film with deep emotional weight, plus, the action is out of this world. Watching Logan face death and rediscover his purpose? It's a must-see moment in his journey. And then, we come to the part of every hero's journey that breaks our hearts, the ordeal, the moment where everything changes. In Logan, 2017, we see an older, battle-worn Wolverine who is at the end of his journey. This film is unlike any other Wolverine movie. It's set in a bleak future where mutants are almost extinct, and Logan is no longer the unstoppable force he once was. He's sick, tired, and struggling to protect a young mutant named Laura, who has powers like his own. Logan is the emotional climax of the entire Wolverine saga. It's raw, heartbreaking, and powerful. Hugh Jackman delivers a performance that will stick with you long after the credits roll. This is the movie that defines Wolverine's legacy, and it's the perfect ending to his story. But every hero gets a second chance, and Logan's journey doesn't end there. We step back into the world of X-Men with X-Men, Days of Future Past, 2014, where Wolverine is sent on a time-bending mission to save the future. Logan is tasked with traveling back in time to 1973 to stop a war that threatens to destroy mutants and humans alike. This film is a mind-bending roller coaster where past and present collide, and Logan becomes the key to saving everyone. You get to see him in a whole new light, playing a role that only Wolverine could pull off. This is an essential chapter of Wolverine's story, and it ties everything together. The stakes are higher than ever, and Logan is back to being the hero we know and love, only this time, the fate of the world is literally in his hands. And to complete your journey through Wolverine's movies, you'll want to watch X-Men, Apocalypse, 2016, and Dark Phoenix, 2019. While Logan plays a smaller role in these films, his legacy looms large over the X-Men. These films show the lasting impact Wolverine had on the mutant world. Even when he's not front and center, his presence is felt in every battle, every decision. His journey may have come to an end, but his influence on the X-Men and the future of mutants is undeniable. And there you have it. You've just followed Wolverine's entire cinematic journey, in release order, from his beginnings in X-Men, 2000, to his powerful farewell in Logan. It's a story full of action and heartbreaks.